Hey, this is Scott Garibay, and I want to tell you right now, I am so hyped for the Strixhaven book, for the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Strixhaven book that just got leaked, right? And it's coming out. So what the heck is Strixhaven? Strixhaven is, it's Hogwarts with the serial number filed off for Magic the Gathering being brought to Dungeons and Dragons. And you know what? I have complained ad nauseum about Ravnica, and I have complained about Theros. I am so hyped for this book. Here's why. We are never going to get a Harry Potter game. We're never going to get a Harry Potter tabletop role-playing game. We begged for it for 15 years when the world would have accepted it. Right now, nobody wants anything from J.K. Rowling. We ain't getting our Harry Potter tabletop role-playing game. So brilliantly, Wizards of the Coast is like, hey, we'll give you your Hogwarts. We're going to give it to you first in Magic the Gathering, and then we're going to bring that setting right over to Dungeons and Dragons. And I'll tell you what, I don't care what path it took to get us there. Hogwarts and D&D, that is my jam. I am so hyped, right? And what I want to tell you is you should get hyped for Strixhaven too. Why? Because this book, this one setting book, so first of all, it's really fascinating. It's a setting book that really talks about one location, right? So, by the way, Strixhaven actually exists on its own plane, right? There's like it's its own world with its own history and all this stuff, and it's all written out because the work was done for Magic the Gathering and it's being brought over into Dungeons and Dragons, right? So here's the thing: Strixhaven it's just Hogwarts with the serial number filed off, right? But can you imagine what we could do with that? There's 4 distinct campaigns in there alone. And I'm not talking campaigns. I'm talking actually game types, right? So think of what you can run in Hogwarts, right? And Strixhaven is Hogwarts, right? Now, I could say that because, like, I recognize a Hogwarts with the serial numbers filed off, right? And, of course, Wizards of the Coast can't say that because it's like, people are going to be, hey, you copied our stuff. It's an homage, right? And they did their work to make sure that that it is distinct from a commercial perspective, but from a play perspective, it's the same freaking thing, right? Like, there's going to be a little bit of difference, but not much, right? So the reason why I've wanted a Harry Potter game all these years is these are the game types that can be played with it, and this is what you're going to be able to do with Strixhaven. Strixhaven Professor game, right? Professor campaign. So that is where your player characters play professors at Strixhaven, and they have the distinct adventures of teaching, the Hermione Granger type, right? The poor witch who comes in and doesn't come from, a pure, wizard bloodline, right? And she's just a real, go-getter, and she's like super smart and plucky but poor, right? And then you have the Draco Malfoys, you have these entitled jerks who you have to deal with, and maybe you can change them so that they're not still aligned with their evil, greedy families, right? And then and the reality is you could take Harry Potter out, right? Like, you got your Ron Weasleys, you got your Patils, right? You got, there's just so many great, you got your Neville Longbottoms. And honestly, I think actually your Hogwarts game is even going to be even better if you leave Harry Potter out, right? Because the reality is that's the Chosen One storyline. We don't really need that. There's lots of adventure to be had just on the Professor campaign. Now, in addition to the Professor campaign, you got your student campaign. That's all about friendship. That's all about this awesome, you building a friendship that's going to last for decades with people you care about as you study and as you try to, become a magical wizard, right? And man, what is better than being a magical wizard student and just, going through your 4 years of wizard high school or college or whatever it is. It's gonna be epic, man. There's so many awesome stories that you could tell right there. And there's going to be magical items and spells and potions and class schedules, and I'm so here for Strixhaven, right? In addition to that, you could do the magical beasts line, right? So one, even if you're just students, you could be students who are all specialized in magical beasts, right? And that means you're going to need to care for magical beasts, which means you literally going to hatch dragon eggs, right? and you're gonna have to go out and get unicorn blood from unicorns in the forest, right? And you're gonna have to go and, like, every single cool story that we had in Harry Potter, we're just gonna yank that stuff right out, put it right into Strixhaven, okay? And why you're like, well, wait, shouldn't J.K. Rowling get that money? No, she can go jump in a lake, and the reason why is she had her opportunity to give us the Harry Potter tabletop role-playing game that we begged for years, and that she denied us, right? So I'm thrilled that somebody's going to say, hey, I'll give you Hogwarts in D&D, right? I'll take it. But like the magical creatures thing, right? This is a whole specific line, right? Like getting familiars and like training magical animals and caring for magical animals and growing magical animals, and like, a whole Pokemon campaign right there in Strixhaven. Here's your last one, right? Your Quidditch campaign, right? Now they're not going to have Quidditch in Strixhaven, but they are going to have some other weird magical sport, right? And you can play as a student in that. Just literally, we can finally have a Rudy campaign in the middle of a Dungeons and Dragons game. We can have a Varsity Lights campaign in the middle of a Dungeons and Dragons game. So Strixhaven, in one fell swoop, gives you a professor campaign, a student campaign, a magical creatures care for campaign, and a magical sport Quidditch campaign. This thing is gonna be amazing. I cannot wait for it. And I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about it. I'm making a prediction now. I think Strixhaven is gonna hit. I think it's gonna be a massive success because it's filling the void that that specifically J.K. Rowling created. Okay? And that void is it's 2 decades. People want to play in Hogwarts for 2 decades and have never been able to do it, right? And here it's being brought right to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I'm so excited for this, and I think this is just going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to hit, and I think it will be the first named setting, right, to ever get a second book. No named setting in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition has ever gotten a second book. I'll read them off. Eberron, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, Ravnica, Theros, I think there's something else in there, right? Probably missing one. We got at least 4, and not one single named setting for Dungeons & Dragons has ever gotten a second book. And so I would really be thrilled to see Strixhaven, and I would love to see a book for every single one of these. Like, give me Strixhaven's core, give me Strixhaven Professor's campaign, Professor campaign book, give me a Strixhaven student campaign book, give me a Strixhaven Magical Care for Creatures campaign book, give me a Strixhaven Magical Sports book. I am so down for Strixhaven. I'm here. I'm a Strixhaven fan, D&D fan. Cannot wait for this. I'm so excited about this league. Get excited. This is going to be good, people. All right, but that's my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.